everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of the Anime Banter podcast with your hosts, Turtle, Mike, and me, Sean. Thank you all for joining us today. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Just got back from the amazing, lovely place that is Walt Disney World. Had a blast. Missed talking to you guys about the Netflix One Piece while I was out, though.
You just didn't want to watch it, did you?
Yeah, to be fair though, if I had the choice between watching live action One Piece and going to Disney World, and as much as I like the podcast, I would probably choose Disney World, yeah.
I see how it is. You guys are just going to abandon me here.
All that delicious food, all the rides.
All right, joking aside, I'd take Disney too. I get it. Welcome back, by the way, Mike.
Hey, thanks. It was hot as hell again.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's Florida.
And it's hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
But to all our Florida listeners, we still love you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, listeners, I hope you didn't get used to Mike's absence because I'm probably gonna be the one disappearing for a banter blitz next. People got places to be.
Sean, you love to travel.
I do love to travel. As our listeners know, I went to Japan and I've got a trip to Colorado coming up this year. So I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a good time.
I'm like the Rock. I'm always here.
You're our rock turtle.
I'm the Rock of the podcast. Can't get me out of my editing chair.
You're our unsung hero.
I mean, you could sing a few bars. I'll appreciate it.
Did I ever tell you you're my hero?
Brings a tear to my eye.
Turtle's also the one who writes all of our music, so we don't have any bars to write because he really does all of that behind the scenes, like underappreciated stuff.
The love song I did not write. That's an actual song. What's that? From Romeo and Juliet. I definitely stole that one. But the opening theme for the podcast I wrote, and I also came up with the beer of the week soundbite. So I do what I can. I try to have fun. Hopefully, you guys are all entertained by everything we do here.
Here's hoping.
If you want Turtle to make more sound drops, let us know. Put more work on his plate so he never finishes Final Fantasy 16.
You surpassed me now. We were just talking about this before recording, and I'm so upset I don't have enough time.
I was thinking actually, do we maybe the listeners probably don't want this at all, but like sometimes like streamers and podcasters have like soundboards where like someone says something and they press a button and it makes a funny sound, or a sound clip from an anime. I'm like, do we want a sound bar in this podcast? I think most people actually find it annoying, but a few people find it really funny. I don't know if you guys know what the heck I'm talking about.
I do. I usually enjoy the podcasts I listen to that have the sound drops. I enjoy because it's just sort of like, usually it's about fantasy football or fantasy baseball, and it's like, oh, it's this player, and then there's a sound drop. I'm like, it just sort of like becomes like an inside joke.
I never really thought about it, but I don't know. I don't know if I have an opinion either way.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Mike. It's like an inside joke between you and the people listening, right? Where everyone's like, I pressed that button, made the funny sound. I get that. Something we'll take away. If you're a big fan of soundboards, reach out to us on social media. Or if you're begging us not to have a soundboard, please also reach out to us on social media.
Yeah, let us know. Maybe we can do some adjustments here on the podcast. You got to reach out, talk to us, let us know.
And it gives me a chance to segue. So we didn't really talk about in the previous episodes. Sometimes we mentioned what show we're gonna watch next, and I don't think we did that.
To be honest, I don't think we really were sure what we were gonna watch in our last recording.
Yeah. So let's face it, Vinland Saga was very intense, and it was the longest series that we had done in the 2 episode review format till that point for the series. So we had to decide, do we want to continue the long ride of Vinland Saga? We love the show. We want to get back to it, but we're not the Vinland Saga podcast. We're the Anime Banter podcast. We'd like to talk about anime, and considering that part of the reason we started the podcast was so Mike could get exposed to more and more anime, we figured, why not flip genres? Let's pick something we haven't done yet. So I present to you the topic of in the next 5 episodes of the Anime Banter podcast. We are reviewing Reborn as the Vending Machine.
This is the sound drop where everyone goes, "Yay!"
Yeah,
Now
that's what
one,
I was gonna say. Yeah, yeah. Insert sound here from
you forgot the
Turtle.
subtitle. Now I wonder the dungeon.
That's right. For
Oh
some
crap!
reason, the
It's such a
the
long ass title.
most
Dang
of
it!
these isekai shows have incredibly long titles, and I don't know why this is a thing, but it seems to be ongoing. People keep doing it. The titles are getting longer and longer and longer.
It's just the trend.
Soon the subtitle will have a subtitle.
And I did forget to say I now wander the dungeon, which is kind of a lie because, well, at least at this stage, you can't wander.
He doesn't wander. It's he gets carried through the dungeon. Sort of like me whenever I play Destiny.
I'm sure that'll change. I bet he'll get some wheels later. Yeah, buy the wheel upgrade.
That'd be cool.
We do know he could transform.
He
Um,
can get some wheels, just give him a push, and wandering he goes till he hits a wall.
yeah, down the hill.
Sean, when you recommended this anime for us to watch, I didn't really know what to expect. One, just based off based off the title, I'm like, because you brought it up while I was in Disney, so I looked it up. I'm like, what in the hell? Like, I'm like, you know what? This seems like it could be a good change of pace from Vinland.
That it is. That it is.
Like, I was telling my wife about it, and she's like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. She couldn't believe that this was like an anime.
One of my favorite things about the isekai genre is in most of these shows, they're pretty dumb. So you just shut your brain off and enjoy. This particular show with this title, when I saw it, even I was like, that seems too dumb for me. So I haven't seen this until we decided to start watching this.
And so far, it's pretty dang dumb.
Yes, it is. It has met my expectations.
There are parts where I'm like, oh, you know what? I really like this. And then there's other parts I'm like, what in the hell is going on?
Well, the education about how Japanese vending machines work, I went to Japan and I saw them in action. So for me, I'm like, oh yeah, like I saw Picari Sweat is one of the like I bought one when I was in Japan, and I saw someone drinking one in this, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Um, and like the milk tea and stuff like that. Like I didn't drink any milk tea, but I saw it there, and I think my brother tried it. So like it was very cool to see Boxo, our vending machine friend, dispensing these things. But I don't want to get into that quite yet. I want to take a little bit of time to talk about the isekai genre. For people who don't know, in an isekai world, I don't know the exact, um, like what defines something is an isekai, and I've kind of seen it up for debate on forums where a lot of times people are like, "Oh yeah, you get killed and then you go to another world." And people are like, "No, you don't have to be killed. It's just like you're from this world, but you go to another world." And it's like, okay, well, where do we draw the line? Is like I think a lot of people agree that like Narnia is an isekai, but is Harry Potter an isekai? Because some people are like, well, he doesn't really like. It's like he like leaves this plane. He doesn't like leave the Earth necessarily. He was like a magic world that's hidden. It's like a hidden world on this earth. So is Harry Potter an isekai? Because he goes to the wizarding world, but the wizarding world is still this world for the most part. Um, so is it? I don't know. That's for everyone else to decide. Um, but yeah, there are a ton of isekais. Almost every children's book is an isekai. You guys have any thoughts on isekais?
I personally don't have a ton of, at least with anime, I don't have a ton of experience with them. The only I've one of the genre I've watched has been Overlord. which I really enjoyed because it has that video game mentality of like being like the whole thing is he's like was a big gamer in this world and the MMO is shutting down and it's like, oh, you now are in the video game with all your loot that you've had. It's like that was really cool. Um but like otherwise I don't really have a ton of experience. And that's sort of why Sean, you are running the show for this anime because you and Turtle have much more experience with it and I feel like you guys will be able to bring much more excitement and passion about this than if I were the host for this show.
Yeah, and I, whether the let me know, listeners, if you hate me as host and want Mike to take the reins back. Let us know. But I am taking the primary duties over for at least this show. Um, Regarding isekai, we're in anime specifically. My time goes back to like Digimon, Monster Rancher. Those are like two off the top of my head that I could think of, or just like classic isekais. You get sucked into another world. Um, Hijink, you say you go on a grand adventure, and sometimes you return to your world, and sometimes you don't, but usually you do. Um, so but since then, I watched other ones. Like when I was in college, I came across The Familiar of Zero. I actually thought it was a pretty bad show, but it wasn't abysmal, and it holds a special place in my heart because it was one of those like it was one of the first few I watched when I was in college after I got back into anime. But besides that, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, Overlord, No Game No Life, Konosuba, I'm a Spider, so what? I've seen all of those, and I like the genre, but I don't love the genre. I know people. There's a new isekai, they have to watch it. It's their favorite genre. I'm pretty picky about it. So, but I thought this one was just outrageous enough. I had to give it a watch, and that's why I suggested it. And when I suggest that you watch something, always be skeptical, because I like really goofy, weird stuff. But Turtle, maybe you could go over your isekai credentials.
I love the honesty, Sean. Yeah, I am a fan of the isekai. Honestly, what did it for me, I think, was it's definitely not one of the first shows that I've watched. But that time I got reincarnated as a slime is like one of my favorite shows since I started watching it. I love the characters, the interaction. What season two did, and they even released a movie which I thought was really good. And we have season three starting up in 2024, so I'm super excited for that. That's one of my favorite shows. I also have watched Overlord. I really like that. Season one and two I thought were really good. Konosuba I've seen. I genuinely think it's really funny. So I'm a spider. So what? I'm really hoping that we'll someday get like a season two. From what I understand, I think the story is done or almost done because I think it's a series of light novels. I think it's finished or almost finished. So I would like to see more of that. The Shield Hero, I really liked season one. I thought it was really good. Season two, I think, kind of faltered. Um, Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. I'm watching season two of that now. I did a Google search just to like show me some shows. What have I seen? And Inuyasha came up. I don't know if I would consider that an isekai, but it was interesting that it showed up. I mean, Kagome goes into the past, so it's sort of like another world, but she can travel back and forth. So I don't know. You tell me, viewers, listeners, if you think it's an isekai, but I figured I'd mention it. Sword Art Online, kind of a similar thing where you're not really in another world, you're in a video game world, but you're trapped there. So, meh. Another one I've seen, oh, Arifuete, from Commonplace to World's Strongest. Log Horizon, I really liked. The Devil's a Part Timer. That's kind of a different twist on that, but yeah, I've seen quite a handful of shows. Um, my favorite thing about it is they typically, not always, but typically are kind of dumb. So you just shut your brain off and enjoy and just watch the silliness that unfolds. Um, some of them are a little bit more serious than others for sure, but Yeah, I just like shutting my brain off, man. After, going to work, dealing with that for 8 hours a day, editing, writing music, working on a YouTube channel. It's good to just shut down sometimes and just have some dumb entertainment.
Well put, Turtle. Um, okay. Now I guess now that we've flashed our credentials here for the listeners, uh, let's give it a listen. Let's give it. I'm sorry. Let's discuss. Let's dive right in. Uh, Today we're talking about episodes 1 and 2 of Reborn as a Vending Machine. I now wander the dungeon. I might. I don't know what I'm gonna call this for short. Is there a shortened name for this? Because a lot of these, like, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Is shortened to Danmachi. So I'm like, okay, that's good. Do we just call it Vending Machine? I don't know.
I'm fine with vending machine.
Vending machine or reborn as a vending machine.
Yeah,
Undead vending machine.
these dang titles, they're too dang long. But
Vending reborn.
yeah, I have no clue. Anyway, here's the synopsis. A vending machine fanatic meets his demise when he is, quite ironically, crushed by a vending machine. He finds himself reincarnated as a vending machine in another world. Episode 1. The Vending Machine Travels. Alright, this episode begins with our hero confused on where he is. And he has a flashback. And something happened to him. He's riding his scooter behind a truck carrying a vending machine. The vending machine's not secured well in the bed of the truck. Both the vending machine and our hero go flying off a cliff. See, I was waiting for Buscoon. Everyone talks about Buscoon, where like you want to you want to get reborn in another world. Just wait for Buscoon to hit you. Uh, he wasn't hit by a bus though. Flying off a cliff gets the job done for sure. I was hoping that the vending machine, honestly, when they show the vending machine, I'm like, please tell me this thing's just gonna fly off the back of the truck and just level him and flatten him like a pancake on the road. It didn't happen. But he has like a weird love. He's like, oh no, the vending machine is gonna fall off of that truck. I better risk my life to stop this vending machine from falling. I'm like, what the heck? Who does that, man? I would start swerving. I'm like, like I'm gonna hit my brakes. I'm gonna let this truck get a lot of distance ahead of me. No, instead he decides to kill himself going off a cliff, stopping a vending machine. My gosh, man, that vending machine's not even worth very much money. Like, what a waste. I don't know, he acted like he was like a child falling out of the vehicle. What'd you guys think about the death? Worth it?
No, I mean it'd be one thing if it was like, oh, it's your vending machine, like he owned it himself, or like it was a part of his like something he owned. But like
Like he's an
it was just
entrepreneur, right? And his livelihood is
yes,
staked on this. Yeah, that would make
but like
sense.
it was just a random ass vending machine that he just happened to be falling behind on the road. Like that was it. Like it wasn't oh, this is my vending machine. It wasn't an antique vending machine like that he like was buying for his collection or something. Like it's just a vending machine.
I think I genuinely face palmed here. Uh, the fact that how someone could be a fan of a vending machine confuses me. It's just a vending machine. How can one get so excited over that? And then, like, he's riding his bike behind the truck and he's like, oh no, that vending machine. I have to save it. The hell's wrong with you, dude? It's just a vending machine. Yeah, this was really dumb. After watching this, I was like, what in the world did I sign up for?
Yeah, this opening scene, I'm like, oh man, am I just gonna rail on? Like, they did not do a very good job hooking me right off the get go with this thing. I'm like, oh, is this gonna be a long watch?
Before suggesting this series, I did zero vetting of it. I knew nothing about it. Uh, so, yep, like I said, someone's need to let Sean throw the suggestions out there. Zero due diligence, zero effort. This could be good.
A big thumbs up. Big thumbs up for Sean.
I dig it though, because I feel like up to this point we've done a lot of like highly acclaimed shows.
Very serious shows,
Yes.
often very dark.
Yes. What do you mean? Chainsaw Man was a comedy. I was laughing my
Sure to
ass off the
some.
entire time.
There are some great moments in that show. Absolutely. Still hoping for season 2. Come on, Japan, make it happen.
Yeah, it has. I don't. I still don't think it's been formally announced. Maybe I'm wrong.
I haven't heard anything.
I know it is getting a Weiss Schwartz set here in early 2024.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay, but let's see. So he believes he should have died, but finds out he's alive. Wait, why can't I move? Oh, he starts saying stuff like crying out for help, but his voice isn't answering him. So he can't like hear himself. But you hear these like vending machine phrases, and so it's like, oh, it's kind of weird. And our guy apparently he has a huge passion for vending machines, and he recognizes these as vending machine phrases. Then he eventually realizes he's been turned into a vending machine and isn't mad about it. I think the new isekai thing is originally when you watch an isekai, people would be like, "What is this strange world I've been transported to? I don't understand." There are so many isekai that isekai protagonists are now like, "Oh, I must be in an isekai." Straight up.
That's
Like
true.
they're like self-aware now, so they can move the plot along instead of having 2 episodes of "Where am I?"
I don't hate that, to be honest. I don't hate that. It brings a level of comedy in, and it also lets you kind of progress. Like, all right, let's move on. Our character knows what's going on.
Yeah, we the viewer know what's happening too.
The one thing I laughed at was when he was like, "Why can't I move?" It's like, dude, you have some weird ass vision going on that you didn't have when you were in like before you got hit by a vending machine. Shouldn't that have been like a giveaway of like, hey, something is wrong? Because like we got his point of view,
Yeah,
and it looked like almost like a Halo HUD.
it did. It did.
Um, so yeah, he's saying like, you know, he's figuring out his pre-constructed phrases, and he's going to his internal menu, which is like, it almost looks like it's one of those. Listen, I don't know if anyone uses works a job that still uses those like almost like DOS systems that are like they look like they're made in the 1980s. And you have to type in like funny commands for them, and all the letters are just like black and white, pretty much like black background, white letters and numbers, and like you type in strange combinations to get to other screens. You guys do that at all for work? Probably not.
I've done some stuff with command prompts, not frequently, but
I'm
I
familiar with it,
have.
but I've not used it.
Yeah, I
I've
use
had
a I use a program that we've had since the 80s at work. It's funny,
I've had
but
to write a couple batch scripts.
fair. Yeah, but it does kind of remind you like the command prompt screen, like his menu, because it's just
Yeah,
black background, white font, all blocky and pixelated. He goes through his stuff, what he can sell, and so far. Oh, and he plays around. He talks about the parameters. He doesn't run electricity. He uses 1 point per hour to stay on. Um, he can spend 100 yen, turns into 1 point. He starts with 1,000 points. Um, and he can use points to change what he sells. Uh, in addition to that, he can only sell 2 items right now: cold water and warm corn soup. Which I don't think I saw warm corn soup when I was in Japan, but I did see plenty of cold water and bought plenty of cold water because boy was it hot a couple of those days.
Warm corn soup does not sound appealing to me.
no, same. Like corn on the cob, all about it. Steamed corn, all about it. Corn soup out of a vending machine, I might need some convincing on that.
I just straight up don't really like corn. I might be one of the few American citizens who doesn't really eat corn, so I'll pass on that. Thank you.
It's corn. It got the juice.
I have seen that video though.
He's like, "Oh yeah, this is a pretty sweet deal. It's gonna be pretty easy to race these points. I'll just hang out until I get some customers, right? And then like this dude like he's in the middle of nowhere. There are no customers, and he's like, I'm gonna die.
this, this did make me laugh. I'll give the show that. It started to catch me about here. It's like, oh, I need, coins in order to stay running, and there's nobody here, and I'm in the middle of a forest. Awesome.
So, yeah, out. But he finally sees a person. Out of the water comes Frog.
From Chrono Trigger, right?
Yeah, I actually did think a little bit about Chrono Trigger. If it was that frog, he wouldn't have vandalized the vending machine like this guy did.
I definitely heard the theme song in my head for a minute or two.
Yeah, so yeah, these guys just start wailing on him. One hits him, and then his buddies join. And during that time, they show his stats, and he has like 100 durability, 10 toughness, and no other stats. Womp womp. So yeah, he's just getting absolutely wailed on. And then he finds out he has a blessing. Yeah, when he has the blessing, there is like all these different abilities he can choose from. And some of these abilities are kind of interesting. One of them's robbery. One of them is bad luck. Um, let's see, pseudo life creation, erudition, which I don't actually know what that is. Erudition. Um, there's education, memory power, originality, um, taste insensitivity, makeup, attentive listening. And I'm like, okay, like some of these abilities are kind of funny. Some of them I don't really know anything about. I'm gonna look up erudition. Hope I didn't say something I shouldn't. Quality of having or showing great knowledge or learning, scholarship. Okay, good. I didn't say something naughty on the air. But yeah, so he finds one. There's a barrier ability, and he uses it, and bop, the barrier pushes all the frogs out, and he is saved. Kind of a not a very exciting ability so far, but the vending machine's got to protect himself.
I mean, after watching One Piece, there is a character who ate the barrier fruit, and you can do some pretty cool stuff with some barriers. Let me tell you.
You think about like a Invisible Woman from Marvel has a barrier. Like that's kind of like her ability. She can like shape barriers, kind of. So
Yeah,
like she can do all kind of crazy stuff with that.
underrated ability.
On the flip side, there was an X-Men character going way back in the Silver Age, named Eunice, and he had a force field. Like his ability was he had a force field, so the X-Men like had a hard time like touching him, like to stop him from committing crimes, because no one could stop him. Like people would shoot it, and the bullets would just bounce off. But eventually, something happened, and his barrier stopped letting oxygen through, and I think that's how he died. He
Oh,
just like
geez.
suffocated to death because his barrier didn't let
That's
oxygen through.
dark.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
yeah,
that.
yeah. So I'll look that up. I'll look that up later in the show to see if that's real. So we'll get to that again. A human named Lamis shows up. She complains about how hungry she is. She lost her food satchel, but she finds the vending machine. She puts a copper coin in the slot. It's not supported. I guess that for some reason the vending machine doesn't know the the currency of the land. I guess it's still in yen, and I don't really know why.
I thought that was strange.
I did too. I thought that was kind of dumb. Like you're transported or you're reincarnated into a machine that doesn't have the currency of the world that you're in. That just seemed weird to me.
But I will say, I think one of the reasons they may have done that is so we could gain a perspective of like how much like a copper and a silver cost, right? So you could be like, oh, in this world, right? Say the water was 100 yen, right? They're like, oh dang, one silver coin, that much. I'm like, oh, okay. So say roughly, you could say like 100 yen is about $1 here in the U.S. In reality, it's probably something like 70 something cents. But we're just gonna say move the decimal place 2, right? So 100 yen is about a dollar ish in America. And so you could say, oh, so like 1 silver is 100 yen. So 1 silver is about a dollar here in America. So that's the only reason I could think they did it, so that we could kind of like convert their currency into our currency in our head. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's otherwise it's dumb as heck.
It makes sense when you explain it that way. I don't really know like the conversion for yen to USD, so I was just like, okay, silver coin, whatever. Moving on, but that makes sense.
Yeah, my job, I foreign currency is very important in my job. So like for me, I'm like, yeah, foreign currency exchange rates, yeah,
This was made for you then, Sean.
yeah, yeah. They put this there just for me. Uh, so anyway, yeah, he gets a coin conversion upgrade. Um, and then Lamus buys some soup and loves the taste of it. What a wholesome show, let me tell you. Lamus buys enough to give our hero 63 points back, and he uses his barrier to keep her safe while she sleeps.
She ate too much corn and passed out.
Well, she probably hadn't had a hot meal exploring like that. So let's see. She mentions she gets up. She mentions her friend Hulami would be very interested in meeting our hero. Uh, she has our hero use like they work out a system, right? It's like, can you talk? Yes. Okay, so you are sentient. Um, so uh, they have they work out some phrases, and the phrase "hello there" for yes and "too bad" for no. So that's what they work out. Yeah, I was thinking it was it got me whenever they said hello there, because obviously the Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know, hello
Hello there.
there.
General Kenobi.
Hello there.
Whenever our hero said hello there, I'm like, General Kenobi. Every time I hear hello there, that's just immediately where my mind goes.
Absolutely.
Same.
I love it.
Hello there.
So let's see. This is kind of comical. She Lemis has a blessing, and it happens to be the exact one that our hero needs her to have.
I thought that
It's a
was pretty
miracle.
how convenient.
Yeah. So Lemis just lifts him up and is like, "Yeah, I can take you to town." So that's pretty easy. Our hero says the soup isn't very filling, so at some point along the way, he stocks up some chips, and she gets to eat those. And so, I've realized like half this show so far is like this guy describing Japanese foods that are in a vending machine, and then people eating foods and being like, "Oh, this is so good." So if that's gonna be like all 12 episodes, sign me up because it's so comfy.
Shut your brain off.
Mm. To be fair, as I've mentioned before, my genre is like slice of life romance usually. I like all the shows where I can just shut my brain off. It brings me joy. So Lamus gets to town. She's greeted by Karios and Gorth. They are relieved to see that she's okay. But they're very confused by our hero. They say she can keep him because she found him in the dungeon, and that's kind of like the rule of the dungeon. If you find it, you get to keep it.
You get dibs.
Yeah, pretty much. You see it first, you get dibs, and they respect dibs around here.
This is now mine.
They said they can buy some items, and they do. Lamas teaches them how it works, and they're like, "Holy crap, this stuff's so good!" And once again, like I said, that's like the plot of the show. People like getting stuff out of vending machines, saying it tastes good. Except they live in a fantasy world instead of modern day Japan. So yeah, we're gonna segue in our next section where Lamus walks up to three thugs, intimidating a young girl. Her attacks completely miss the thugs, and she's mad their attacks miss again. So I guess that's a regular problem for her. It kind of sucks to have all that strength and never hit anything.
I was gonna say she has all the strength, but it seems like she can't ever land a punch.
All power, no accuracy.
Obviously, she doesn't do enough training.
She probably just needs some glasses.
Min max it. For whenever she does hit something, it'll go flying. It'll just be very low percentage.
You have a 1% chance to hit. Good luck.
The time to
Start
swing
swinging.
100 times.
Yes, the JoJo Bizarre Adventure
JoJo.
punching.
Let me introduce our hero to her friend Munami. How's it pronounced? Munami?
I believe so.
Munami? Yeah.
Munami? Toonami?
No, not Toonami. Not Munami. I think it's Munami. I can't remember.
Tsunami?
Lamus doesn't have enough money to use the transportation circle. She's like, hey, we can get to the Tinkerer if we Hulami. That's it. Yeah, we can get to Hulami if we use the transportation circle. But I don't have any money because she spent it all on corn soup and chips. So she has to work something out with the people at the inn. So she's gonna go work for them during the day at like their restaurant, and our hero's gonna sell items outside the inn during the day that don't compete with the restaurant. And then at the night, Lemus is gonna take the vending machine to Karios and Gorth at night, so they can essentially be entertained and stay nourished while they keep watch. But they're starting to get bored of the current offerings because there just isn't much he's been offered. So our hero decides to change some of the selections. He adds some interesting stuff, and our hero now has over 3,000 points, which is triple where we started. So things are going well for him. Soon after this, we see the young girl from the alley. She runs off. She gets mad because he talks first. So he says like, "Hello there." And she's like, "Not fair. I'm supposed to be the one who starts the conversation." And then she just runs away. Weirdo.
I thought that was weird.
That just
Like,
means we're gonna see her again later.
yeah, I thought there could have been a better way to introduce that character.
She's shy, I guess. I don't know. These shows are so dumb all the time.
It's best not trying to predict anything. Just go along for the ride.
She's like, I'm gonna go get my own vending machine with blackjack and hookers.
In fact, forget the vending machine.
Forget the blackjack.
That's a Futurama reference.
Forget the whole damn thing.
The episode ends with Lamis saying that she wishes the two of them could have a real conversation. She calls our hero Boxo to end the episode. And we finally have a name for our hero. So congratulations, Boxo, on your great name.
If you saw a vending machine called Boxo, would you use it?
Yeah.
Probably.
Depends on what's in it.
I would definitely use it if it was vending machine McVending machine face.
I'd use it if they had zingers in it.
I hope that eventually he gets like a in one of those upgrades that lets him talk, like with his actual voice. But the way this show's going, that may just never happen. We'll see.
Was I the only one waiting? Like, her, like, oh, I wish we could have a real conversation at some point. I'm like, are they going to do something weird and have, like, the vending machine and llamas fall in love or something?
That's a possibility.
She could be a mechanophiliac,
Here we
which is
go, Sean.
I looked this one up because I was like, is this show going this way? Mechanophilia is attraction to machines. She could be that way.
I'm glad it wasn't just me who thought that they, like, were hinting at that potentially.
And wait for her to be like, Boxo, you're my best friend. And then us all feel really bad for her because her best friend is a vending machine.
That's probably the route the show's gonna go.
In these shows, typically, Mike, they actually never resolve feelings that characters have for each other. It's incredibly frustrating. A lot of times it's a harem. I predict at least 3 or 4 women will probably fall in love with this vending machine by the end of the series.
From the opening we see in episode 2, that's a real good possibility.
So you mean like Albedo and Overlord?
Yeah, maybe not to that extent because that's like on for her on a scale of 1 to 10, she's like a 15. She's like way into Momonga.
Nazar.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
actually, Overlord's a really bad reference point because all the characters are just like extremes.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah, so like it's a poor reference point. Usually, all the characters just like refuse to admit their feelings, or stuff like that because they have to drag it out. But yeah, like I say usually it's heavily implied that the characters like each other in some way, but nothing ever comes of it because they don't finish the series, or even if they do, they just don't give you that proper send off, which is very frustrating. I don't know. With that, let's just segue straight into Mike's beer of the week, eh?
And now it is time for Mike's Beer of the Week. So this week's beer comes to you from Grist House, a Pittsburgh brewery here in Pittsburgh, and it is their Kaboom Candy, blueberry and pomegranate. I had to specify the fruits because the Kaboom Candy is one of their sour lines, and they use different fruit combinations over the years. This is a 4.5% sour. The beer was very refreshing and went down very smoothly. Very interesting fruit combination. Just you don't really think of blueberries and pomegranates. It's like, oh, blueberries and this, or pomegranate and this, but like you don't really see the two fruits merge to like ever mixed together in anything really. Like even outside of beers, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have some blueberries. Maybe I'll have like a banana or something. And like pomegranates, sort of just like you have on their own. So like you don't really mix the two of them very frequently. It was a very interesting combination, but I really dug it. And I was at dinner with some friends for a buddy's birthday of mine. Happy birthday, Shawnee. It's been a while since that birthday dinner, but happy birthday nonetheless. And there were at least 3 or 4 of us that drank this beer, and we were all raving about it when we drank it over dinner. So definitely check it out. It's a light beer in ABV, so you can have a couple without too much of a worry of getting hammered. The untapped average rating is a 4.14, and I give it a 4.
Episode 2: The King Frog Fiend appears. A bear is staring at Boxo. Boxo's scared of the bear. We learn that the bear is actually Director Bear, and he's the director of the Hunters Association.
Director Bear. Oh my god.
They were very on brand with this naming.
Sometimes I like when names are just straightforward because, like, it's hard to remember the names. We have a few notes jotted down here before the episode. If we didn't have those written down, I'd be like, the guy who looks like a bear. Oh, Director Bear, yeah. Or like, I forgot Lamus's name. I watched 2 episodes of the show. Couldn't remember Lamus's name at the end of 2 episodes. It's just how
uh,
it is.
I absolutely suck with names. I can never remember anybody's name. I'm lucky I remember my own name. And I was going to say, as we're scrolling through, like, what is with these names? And then we get Boxo and Director Bear. I don't know.
I mean, I figured maybe they would do like Kodiak or something. Like, oh, we'll name it after a kind of bear or something. Director Grizzly.
That would be kind of cool. I'd
That'd be
respect
pretty
that.
good. Yeah, I'd be down with the Grizzly. But we get this instead. He's the director of the Hunters Association.
Grizzly the director.
And of course, in English, he's voiced by Chris Sabat.
I didn't catch that.
Oh yeah, no, I know his voice now.
That makes it even better.
Director Bear,
What the heck? Now we love Director Bear.
best character.
Waifu of the week. Why? Because it's voiced by a Sabat. Done.
Well, best character asks if they can count on Lamus and Boxo for the upcoming hunt to deal with the frogs. Boxo agrees as he wants to protect Lamus and the village. I guess he feels like he owes them a debt. So that's the plot of this episode. Um,
He has to protect his number one customer somehow.
Good point. Then we hit the opening credits, and Turtle, do you want to go over the opening credits?
Sure thing. The song is called Fanfare, and it's by the band Bradio. It's like, or it's like radio, but with a B. Bradio, maybe that's how you say it. I kind of like this one. It's like a ska type rock song, and it's pretty fast, pretty fun tune to listen to. There's some pretty slick trumpet runs in there, and as a former trumpet player myself, I appreciate that. It's a pretty cool song.
Director Bear says that the frog fiends can't do much damage to the village, but could block its access to the transportation circle, so they have to take care of them. Uh, the hunt is happening during the frog fiend mating season, and there are more frogs this year than previous years, which is a problem. We meet Cariol, the leader of the Menagerie of Fools, which is this little hunting troop, I guess. Don't know if I love the name. Don't know if I'd want to be in the Menagerie of Fools, but I don't know. I guess there probably weren't too many choices.
I got a laugh out of the name.
It's not that bad. Um, but yeah, Kirill he takes an interest in Boxo and tries one of the afternoon teas. It's got a picture of a lemon on it. He loves it and tells Lamus to make sure Boxo keeps stocked up. Lamus says that they don't have to restock Boxo, and he has an endless supply of drinks. And here's where we think we might get some answers. Kirill calls his assistant Filmina to come check out Boxo to see if she can detect any magic. She doesn't detect any magic on Boxo, which is strange because we know Boxo is a magical being. So it's kind of bizarre. Don't know where they're going to go with that. Director Bear tells everyone to make camp for the night. Boxo uses this as an opportunity to drop some business by selling cup noodles. We all love. Well, I don't know if I'd say I love cup noodles. I mean, like I would eat it if I had to. I guess if I was camping, I think cup noodles probably doesn't sound that bad because of how warm they are. But the hunters love it, and after watching that, I myself was like, maybe I could go for some.
It's the weather is starting to get cooler here, and it's like one of the few reasons I'm excited for the winter time is for like for soups, and like I could just throw some cup noodle in for like an easy lunch and like warm up real quick. So I'm excited for some cup noodle season.
Yeah, I went to the grocery store today, and I was just walking around, and I saw the soup, and I was like, it's getting pretty chilly. We haven't turned on our heat yet. We are holding out as long as possible. But I also live in a townhouse, and my two neighbors, if their heat is on, then it kind of like partially warms our house a little bit. So don't mind that.
To quote Costanza, I'm shifting into soup mode.
That's a pretty good way to do it. Okay, so moving on, Lamus becomes friends with a fellow hunter named Shui. Boxo can't believe how much Shui can eat. There's always that one like female character who could just pack it away. Not just character, not female necessarily. Well, okay, if it's like an isekai harem thing, often it's a female character. But sometimes if it's a shonen show, One Piece, Naruto, DBZ, the main character is the one who eats.
I was gonna say I have a Funko of Goku eating a bowl of ramen.
I might have that too. I have to look. I think I scooped that one.
As I said during a One Piece episode, shonen protagonists are, you know, all good boys who like to eat lots of food. They're all just, unfortunately, shonen protagonists are pretty much all the same character and usually the least interesting character in their show. But they're relatable because they like doing good things and they like eating. And we all like doing good things and we like eating.
What if I like doing bad things and I like drinking?
You're on the wrong show, buddy.
Yeah, but you definitely wouldn't be the only one. But if you like doing those things, you're probably not listening to this. But if you do like those things and you're listening to this, I won't stop you. I'm not going to discriminate against you. But I'd ask that you do more good things and do a little less drinking because it's just, you know, I got some family members where drinking hasn't been too kind to them. Yeah, but moving on. Lamus tells Director Bear that her and Boxer will be out on the battlefield. After Director Bear tells Lamus he only brought her and Boxer along for the food. So it's time to attack frogs, right? And Director Bear tells the hunters to attack. Cariel says the bigger the pile of frogs, the more gold they get, which is cool. And Lamus actually takes a swing at a frog and actually hits one, which is wild. But um, I love the explanation that we get, where like Boxo's on her back, and he's like, "Am I a counterweight? Is she so strong she needs a counterweight to actually hit things?" That cracks me up. So I guess now we're gonna see Lamus fight all the time with Boxo on her back.
I was gonna say I'll give them points for originality for coming up with something like this. I wasn't expecting that.
I really appreciated that. I thought that was a pretty neat inclusion.
So Boxo and Lamus are now besties for resties.
Maybe one day they'll have a real conversation. Besides saying things like, "You could win a prize," which, by the way, don't know why that's a vending machine saying. He has not given out any prizes. He's not actually indicated where you can get these prizes from.
I thought that was really weird too. It's like, wait, you're a vending machine, not like a crane game or something.
You got to mail in like the box toppers in order to get the prize.
Oh, me collect caps. Yeah, that could be it. That was very bizarre. So yeah, frogs appear from the mud. Shui and Lamus have each other's back, but they need a little bailing out by Boxo, who hits the barrier. So that's good stuff. He says you can even win a reward when the enemy's approaching, and the reward is getting punched in the face. Good times. Lamus tells Cariel that she believes Boxo has a blessing, so Cariel, he's learning more about, like, everyone's learning more about Boxo, but Carol seems particularly curious, and at one point, even later, Boxo's he seems a little suspicious of Cariel, and I'm like, should I be? Because I wasn't, but maybe now I am.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. It's like he's like, "Oh, I'm very suspicious about this guy." It's like he doesn't seem like all that worrisome, but maybe he just knows how to not be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. But like maybe he's just not a fan of his facial hair.
That could be it.
He doesn't trust the stubble.
Yeah, well, he's also like, he's not like the nicest guy. Like he's not a bad guy, but like, for example, here comes the part where he's like, "All right, everyone, cut off the frogs' tongues, because that's like the trophy we turn in to like prove that we killed these frogs and collect our reward." So he's like, "All right, guys, start cutting these tongues off." And they're like, "Why don't you cut some tongues off?" He's like, "Because I'm the boss." And has anyone ever had that boss and also never ever respected that boss?
Um I haven't had a boss like that personally, but I've worked with people that remind me of that like personality where they're like, "Oh, I did all this work," and they really did nothing.
Yes, my answer is yes.
Yep. Sometimes there's just that boss who refuses to get his hands dirty. Or he tells you, "Oh yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna let you have that so you can get the experience of cutting tongues out." Like acting like he's doing you a favor. Um, but then he's like, "Hey guys, we cut off more tongues if we go to the front line. We get a bigger reward, eh?" So everyone's like, "Okay, yeah, I guess we'll go."
When they agreed to go, like they didn't fight back at all on that. They're like, "Oh yeah, fine." Like there was no discussion about it. They're just like, "Meh, sure, why not?"
They need more money to put into Boxo. Yeah, but by the way, that money's not getting recirculated into the economy. It's not like some middle class guy's gonna come unload the vending machine and then like go buy stuff with it.
I was gonna say, could you consider Boxo the villain?
Yeah, I mean,
He's tanking the economy.
He's providing them with like drinks and like food and everything, but like all the money goes to him so he can live. So it's like, yeah, we see later he like provides free drinks for everybody, but like the least you can do is like to support your frequent customers.
yeah, seriously. I don't know. I know a little bit about economics, and it's not adding up. But then again, economics is also often about how to deal with scarcity, and it's actually not good that he's able to magically recreate these drinks because now, like, no one has to gather natural resources, so there's no one making money there. No one to like transport the resources, so there's no merchants making money there. So he's like cutting out whole parts of the supply chain.
No one to clean up the trash.
Yeah, there's no one to clean up the trash. It cleans up itself. So there's not even like a government employee who can take care of that. So he really just like is absolutely economy shattering. He is providing nothing to these people in the way of a healthy economy, besides and even like if people are eating some of his food, they may be buying less groceries from the local merchants. And I understand he's trying not to compete with like the restaurants and the merchants and stuff by only selling late in the day when the restaurants like not open. But still, people would skip the restaurant just to go get that, cup of noodles if they could. Sorry, I think too much about this stuff because it's the field I'm in.
At least the garbage like disappears and doesn't just pile up. So that's something, right?
Yeah, it's green. Yeah,
Environmentally friendly.
Boxo is definitely a green machine. But Kirill believes that the king frog fiend was born this mating season, and that's why there's more frogs than usual. Lamus leaves Boxo alone. A hunter approaches Boxo, and I was wondering when this was going to happen, and they did it pretty early. But someone tries to rob him. They're like, "Yo, people put all those coins in there. I'm gonna fish them out." So Boxo offers him a free drink, and this guy's like, "Ho ho, free water," and then he drops a hot can of corn soup on his hand, burning his hand, and the guy's like, "Oh no!" So I don't know. Lamus catches the guy, and they tie him up, and I don't think we hear from him again.
What a riveting fight scene.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Uh, So anyway, fast forwarding, the king frog fiend appears. Lamus frees the transportation animals because they're too scared to move, and she starts pulling the cart herself because she's a beast herself. It's pretty cool, but the king frog fiend's falling behind, and he's a little faster than them. So Boxo brainstorms. What can I do to protect everyone? And he starts. This is just funny to me. He starts dispensing cola, like 2 liters of of cola, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen a vending machine with like a whole 2 liter of pop, right? Like, dang. And then he gets this form change out of nowhere, pretty much. And he turns into a mint dispense. When I started seeing the Coke pop out of there, I was like, oh, is he gonna do the Mentos and Coke type of thing? And turns out he is doing the Mentos and Coke trick. Um, and he starts repeating the phrase, "Please insert coins. Please insert coins." And they eventually figure out, oh, insert coins, insert mints into cola. Uh, so the hunter who tried stealing from Boxa wakes up. He starts freaking out at the sight of the King Frog Fiend. The others tell him to shut up, and they put the mints in his mouth, which is also funny. They pour cola in his mouth to get him to calm down. The mints and the cola react and start shooting fizz out of his mouth. That's when everything clicks. Uh, Lemus and the other hunters grab colas and mints. They spray the fizz at the King Frog Fiend. the Menagerie of Fools help slay the King Frog Fiend, and we have complete and total victory. What
Hooray!
What'd you guys think about the resolution of this fight?
I thought it was a very unique way to win a fight, but also very fitting with it being a vending machine. But the form change was unexpected.
This show is very silly and stupid, and I can't even predict what other like vending machine forms he's gonna shape into. Especially like I know that vending machines in Japan are rather different and have much more variety than what we have in the states. So I have no idea what's gonna happen. But the resolution to this fight kind of made me laugh.
This isn't even my final form.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. You think, okay, what other kind of vending machines are there? Now, I thought about this one. In Japan, there's that notorious vending machine that sells used panties. Are we going
Oh
to see that
no.
vending machine?
Oh
Are we going to see the
no.
vending machine in the series?
No, no, no.
It could happen. I get the vibe that it's not gonna.
I hope not.
But yeah, and then we end up at the end credits. So Toro, would you like to go over the end credits?
Yeah, this will be a pretty quick one here. The ending theme is called Usual Soup, very appropriate, by the band Peel the Apple. This song, to me, it sounds kind of like a children's song. It's kind of poppy, but it's just not for me. I didn't care for this one. And for the rest of the season 1 that we watch, I will be skipping this song.
All right, so we watched the first two episodes. The vibe is completely different from everything we've experienced so far in our reviews. As a person who's not watched a lot of isekai, Mike, Overlord was an interesting introduction for you. How does this compare?
Uh there were times where I'm like, this is really great. Like where he was like sort of using video game logic to feel like, okay, I can use like here are my abilities, here are my stats, like these are like things I can do. Like I thought that was all really cool. And then there were times where I'm like, this is just weird and dumb, but like the good kind of dumb. And I'm like, I don't really know like what to expect. The opening was like not the best opening. Like they could have done something better, I feel.
Like having a vending machine fall on him and crush him would have been absolutely perfect.
Yeah, like but it's like, oh, they're going over the edge of a cliff. It's like, wait, what? Like they could have just been like, oh, the his snack didn't come out and he like tried to like push the vending machine.
I mean, who has not been there, right? You put your coins in, you pick the thing you want, and then it gets stuck. You know how frustrating that is? So you go to shake the shit out of the vending machine. I want my snack, and then to have it fall over and kill you. That would be an incredible way to start this show. I'm all for that. I can't believe I didn't think of that, Mike. You're a genius.
Like whatever snack that like got stuck and killed him, he could have charged like an absurd, like a ridiculous amount for it, like out of a grudge for that snack.
Nobody will ever buy this again.
It's like no one will die buying cold corn cobs.
What if that was like the stipulation? If somebody bought that, you would fall over on top of that person and kill them because they bought that item.
It's like, oh, the villain wants to buy a snack. Hold on, I'll make it free for them. Whack, dead.
Exactly. See, we got ideas.
Yeah, hire us as writers. We got this.
We got
Uh,
season 2 right here.
Turtle, any thoughts on the episode
Um,
that you want to go over?
this is kind of a different take on the isekai. It seems very silly, and I think the whole point of this show is just a comedy, which I prefer a little bit more action and drama to my story, but I do like humor. So I don't know. I'm shutting my brain off. I'm along for the ride. Let's do it.
I enter with an open mind and open heart. I I want it to be fun. That's all I ask. A little bit of fun. So yeah, we'll see where this episode, where this takes us. But now it is time for the waifu of the week. Turtle, who's your pick?
Well, I didn't think about this before we started recording, so I didn't jot it down in our notes here. But just going over everything that we just talked about, I think Lamis is a good choice. I think, Boxa is kind of an obvious choice, being he's the main character. But I'm going with Director Bear. He's voiced by Chris Sabat. I love his voice. He does a great job. He's named Director Bear, which is absolutely silly. And my brain could not be more shut off. This week I'm going Director Bear.
Very good. How about you, Mike?
I feel like the low-hanging fruit is Lamis and Boxo, just because they were really the only two characters we really saw for both episodes. I guess I'll go Boxo though, just because main character syndrome. And like, how often do you get to be like, the main character is a vending machine?
Once, only once, right here. Never again.
Yeah, I can't think of another time. Yeah.
And at least like, I love how when he's like, I know I'm a vending, like, he like quickly realizes that he is a vending machine after he like dies. He's like, oh, this isn't that bad. And, like, he's excited to be a vending machine. And then he's like, wait, should I be excited about this? It's like, no, because you died. That, like, you died and you're a vending machine now. Like, when he's like, oh, I'm so passionate about vending machines. And he's like, maybe I should question my passion. It's like, I'm thinking, like, there are a lot of things that I'm passionate about personally. And, like, I can't think of any of them where, like, if I died tomorrow and was reincarnated as one of my passions, I'd be super excited about. It's like, no, I'd be still pretty bummed that I died.
Yeah, like if you like bowling, you won't want to come back as a bowling ball. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants that.
Boy, I really like plates.
Oh man, I really like toilet seats.
Like, I wouldn't want to be reincarnated as a beer if I were to die. Like, I like beer, hence the beer of the week segment. But like, if I died tonight, I wouldn't want to come back as a keg of beer tomorrow. Like a never-ending keg of beer.
I can't wait for somebody to drink me.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna choose Lamis. I was thinking Boxer or Lamis, Boxer or Lamis. Without Lamis, Boxo dies next to a lake. So I'm just gonna pick Lamis. Like I said, the low-hanging fruit, right? Boxo or Lamis. I just pick Lamis. I don't know. We'll see what fun we have next week. I want to thank everyone for joining us this week and for the next few weeks as we dive into Reborn as a Vending Machine. I now wander the dungeon. We hope you'll join us next week for episode 30 of Anime Banter. That's a pretty big number.
Yeah.
Where we watch episodes 3 and 4 of Reborn as a Vending Machine. I now wander the dungeon. Please give us a 5-star rating on all the platforms that allow reviews. If you're listening on YouTube, please like the video, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Regarding plugging things, I'm gonna go first. First, I want to give a shout out, to the Treehouse Anime Pod. They left a comment on our Instagram, and they let us know that they watched all of our episodes of Vinland Saga, and we're truly thankful for that. So please give them a listen. I also would like to ask you to listen to the Deepman Files podcast. We're airing new episodes now, season 2. There's less than 20 episodes, so you can just go in, dive right in. You're not far back, and we're airing episodes now, so you're gonna get caught up really quickly. So please give us a listen. Turtle, anything you want to plug?
As always, you can find me on my YouTube channel, RPG Treasure Trove. I sit down and play some RPG games with a friend, couch co-op style. So if you're into that, please check us out.
Mike, anything you want to toss out there?
Yeah, just please smash the like buttons on the socials. please tell your friends about us. Really appreciate any word of mouth. I know we've been at a couple conventions passing out cards, trying to drum up the listenership and getting more supporters. But please tell your friends. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Smash that like button everywhere. And retweet, repost, yada yada yada. What all they say to do, but just if you can, tell 2 of your friends about us. And hopefully those 2 friends can tell 2 of their friends. And we hope you enjoy. And if this is your first time listening, we hope you go back and listen to the backlog. As we've covered multiple animes. We've done Chainsaw Man, Trigun Stampede, just finished Vinland Saga. We've had a couple Banter Blitz episodes, so check us out if you haven't. If this is your first episode, please go back, check out the backlog, tell your friends, tell your family.
And on the YouTube, by the way, Turtle has organized our episodes into playlists. So if you're not sure where to start because you don't like our naming conventions or just the episode titles, the episode numbers are confusing, and same with the titles, you can go to YouTube, check out our playlists, and just start there. It's a really good way to get started. And you can just pick the show you want. Do you like Trigun Stampede but you don't like Chainsaw Man? Start there. Give us a shot that way.
Also on the YouTube, we have a bunch of box openings for trading card games, if that tickles your fancy.
Because everybody loves a good trading card game.
It's a good point. We do have a few of those. So yeah, like I said, if you listen to us on Spotify, please also check out our YouTube. And if you listen to us here on YouTube, I don't know, please share us around. In addition to YouTube, we can be found on Facebook, X, Instagram. Please feel free to reach out to us on social media. Thank you all for joining, and we'll talk to you next week.